Well, hello and welcome back, or welcome to Season 2 of Hardcore Minecraft with me, Doom Mountain. I do hope that everyone's having a lovely morning, afternoon or evening, whatever it may be as you guys are tuning in. We are over here at our lovely tree nursery, and well guys, I do have some big plans for this area. So, I've been thinking, and I've also been talking with, chat on stream, because we have been working on this world quite a bit the last few weeks in between this episode and the last one, because, well, as I said, I wanted to make sure that the tree nursery was definitely 100% an island and no longer a peninsula. And well, we've gone through and really separated out the two bits of the two bits of land, separated them by our water to make the river really distinct. And our lovely log bridge that we built up in the last episode is really looking nicely in place now and acting as a bridge. So there's been a bit of a thought process and a bit of a chat going on, and well, I've decided that I want to spend, including this one, 3 more episodes to get this entire area here finished. Now that may seem like I'm asking for I'm expecting a bit too much, but it's actually, I think, quite doable. Because let's break it down. What do I need to get done in this area? Well, first off, I need to actually achieve getting up the house where, Freddo lives, the owner of the tree nursery, as well as the storage space and, a bit of a stable for Trot when we're down here. We need to get all that section built up, and I think that's what we're going to get done. Well, I know that that's what we're going to get done today. So that's 1 episode's worth on its own. The next part that we really need to start working on is really defining the beaches and everything that surrounds this area, because we've gone through and made sure that each one of these sections have their own biome feel, and we've got things that represent what that would really look like in that area. But our beaches and our coastal sort of side is still left very bare, and we kind of need to do the decorating and detailing for that. So that in itself would be just 1 episode. Then we would have the final episode, which would be going around and making sure that the river's edge around here and everything else has just got its final nice little tweaks and looks pretty. So you see, between that sort of section, I think that would also be just 1 episode of its own. So that is my goal now, is I am thinking that if we can just manage to get those 3 sections done, each section taking 1 episode, but there we go. We would have the tree nursery complete. And, well, that is the goal for today, is actually aim to get, the first section tackled, which is going to be, down here working on the house, the stable, the storage. Want to get all of that done in today's episode. Before I go ahead and do that, though, there is one thing that I would like to address, from a comment on last episode, and that was from Dr. K. Now, last episode, as I was saying, we were doing the whole log bridge build, so probably be a little bit better off if we head over in that area and I can actually talk about it while we're there. So let me just head onto that space right now. So as you can see here, we're approaching our lovely fallen log that, as we were talking about, for the story and lore purposes, it had been struck by lightning on the other side of the on the mainland, and as the log has fallen into the river, and now we've carved it out and made it into our bridge. And I honestly thought that, we've got to go through and maybe add in, yes, hey Bluey, some like bird nest sections in here, and maybe a few more cobwebs, I've been thinking as we've gone through. But I was really happy how we left this off. However though, I had made a comment. The whole purpose of this was, it had been struck by lightning, and I want this world to be very much so story based. So, why didn't I include anything like that in this build? And Dr. K had pointed out that if this had been struck by lightning, we could have used some basalt to sort of show a little bit of the charring wood. And I've got to admit, Dr. K, you were onto a winner with this one. I really like how it looks, so I've gone through and added in a bit of basalt here. So if we go over to this section here, you can kind of see my thought process. So my thinking is that the lightning bolt has come from over here and it struck this part of the tree, and before going down and earthing itself, it's kind of gone through there at a diagonal and struck out here and kind of destroyed the tree. That's why the log's fallen in the first place. So because it was at that sort of diagonal, I've tried to incorporate that here as well. So you can see that this is the part where the entry would have been, that's close to that side. And then as you can see, this side here, it doesn't look too much because it's more closer to that edge there, which is a little bit more on the buried under the ground section. So yeah, I honestly, I can't believe that I didn't think about it, but Dr. K, thank you so much for making that comment, because yes, adding in that little bit more of the charred looking there, it's really helping to add to the story here and just makes a bit more sense of why this large tree had fallen in the first place. So thank you very much for your comment. Alright Bluey, come on, today's the day. You've got to be proud of me, okay? So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be working in this whole area here. That's right, Blue. We're going to get the house built up. We're going to get a bit of a storage room built up where it's going to be, holding all of these logs. And because part of the story, I don't think it'd be a storage, it'd be more like a lumber yard. So I'm thinking we want like a shack house somewhere over here, maybe with like maybe not a shack house. That might have been the wrong term. Something with maybe like a stone base with a wooden frame. I think, yeah, Bluey, that might be nice for the house. And then a larger section over here, probably a little bit closer to the water, so it's easier to be able to maybe move the logs around if it's a bit too chaotic to be able to actually path it up through here. So I'm thinking then we get the lumberyard over here some way, and then we need like a stable somewhere where we can store Trot when he brings over here. Exactly, yeah, it's smart. We're going to have access to the bridge over here. If people are coming and going, we might need stables. So geez, Bluey, 3 builds over here. That's going to be a bit of a work, and honestly, I can see that the sun's setting there, and yeah, as I was about to say, honestly, I've come to realize that we have been spending so much time here working on trees and decorative blocks that I've neglected one of the key things that this game actually, it's based about. I haven't been mining in a while. We do not have a reliable backlog of resources to actually build any of these 3 buildings that we want to get done now. I know, this is terrible. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to now go and quickly do some resource gathering. But the reason why I'm going to do it now like this is because I've been neglecting Mr. Voiceover Mountain, and I've kind of been thinking, we could probably cover so much more stuff in such a smaller footprint if I just got him out of, out of the works again and got him back into it. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go and do some resource gathering. We need some stone. So yeah, okay, hang on, let me sleep through, and then let me just give you a little bit of a debrief of what I'm thinking, and then we'll jump straight into it. So let me do that. Really, Mountain? I mean, like, you say that, you want to do the voiceover thing because it's going to be able to cut into like a whole more time sort of slotty stuff. So yeah, you know what? Let's do it. I'm going to go to sleep now, and then I'm just going to jump straight into my resource gathering. So you guys will be brought into a Voiceover Mountain. Please give him a warm welcome. Oh, thank you so much for that lovely and warm welcome back into the role of Voiceover Mountain. And I do agree with you, mate. I think that if we start sort of making a little bit more use of this sort of format of editing, I guess that's what we could use it with, we could probably cover a little bit more content in our works. So, as I mentioned before, this episode we're going to try and get those 3 main buildings built here within the tree nursery. So I want to get started off with a nice cozy sort of home cottage decor kind of thing. So that's going to have a bit more of a stonier base with like a more wooden frame and roofing on it. Before we eventually will be moving on and getting done I was about to say the storage room, but it's not a storage room. This is a tree nursery. We really want to fall into that sort of, lore and thinking of, wood yard sort of thing. So it's like a lumber mill. So we're going to want to work with an area that's going to have a very stone flat flooring. I'm thinking it's going to be very open spaces, some pillars probably just holding up the roof. And then, just a nice simple roof that might be a little bit slanted. And we can sort of say that just sort of helps with the airflow to sort of prevent any more, any of the dust and wood shavings getting flicked up a little bit too much. So that's kind of the thinking for that. And then finally, I would love to get a little bit of a stable built up because, well, we've got our lovely companion Trotty, who over these last few months while I've been working this tree nursery has really been making it possible to actually just get in and around all these different areas. So it's going to be a lot easier for me to be able to, house him and actually store him, within a stable or something. And I think, now that this tree nursery is connected to the main island, people would be travelling through, so it makes sense to have a spot where you can store those sort of, your mounts, your rideables. So those are the 3 buildings that I want to get done today. As you can see, we've just been going through and collecting up some resources because I know it's a little bit shameful where we're about 2 years into this world, and it would be by the time that this episode drops, and we still run out of resources. We don't just have everything that we need on hand. So I probably need to be doing a few more streams where we collect some of those resources. But hopefully we're now all finished up, and let's jump into some of the planning stages of these 3 buildings. So now with a few more resources collected up and our stocks not looking so withered away like we don't actually have anything, it looks like we might be able to actually do a build or 2, so that's good. And I think that voiceover mountain, you still got a few cobwebs in there, mate, but look, we're going to keep bringing you back because I do believe that did really help actually speed up me getting the resources and just explaining a little bit of a description of each of those buildings and kind of their purpose. So now we're in that planning stage, and what I've got is our trusty and beloved coloured wool, so that way we can determine different sections of the buildings as well as actually start shaping them out. So let's start off with the white wool representing any of the stone structure work and the yellow wool being any of the wooden work. So for the first off, I want to have the base of each of our buildings. We could probably get rid of these blocks now so they're not just in our way. What do you think, Bluey? Yeah, that little term was like, I don't care, just get it done. Okay, I'm working on it. Alright, so I think that the little cozy home should be somewhere over here. And now the idea of this place is it's not going to be too big, it's not going to be too small. The person that actually, well, Freddo, the owner, the living, I want to say person, but he's a frog. So Freddo, the owner of the tree nursery, doesn't really need a large home, somewhere they can go and sleep, as well as maybe cook their meals, because I would imagine that, this whole area here, yes, and all of these pandas, I believe that panda is Fluffy Boulder. Are you? Yes, Fluffy Boulder. So with all these pandas around roaming everywhere, there's a lot of stuff to be done. So the home here isn't going to be this great big building. It's going to be something nice and small and cozy enough for you to sleep and eat in. And so with that said, I think that maybe a 7 wide, so we go 1, and then let's go say 5, so that'd be 1, 5, and then we just connect this up. Alright, Fluffy Boulder, what do you reckon? This is a nice little just sort of outline of where the house will be. Now I'm thinking that for the stonework we're going to have probably 2 layers tall of it before we get into the full, roofing it, well not roofing, the actual building. So it'll come up at each corner like this, and then we'll have our yellow wool. I was about to say white. No, I do know my colours, I promise you. So we'll go through with that. Now, looking at this here, I'm thinking that, okay, for a bedroom size, this is perfect. Somewhere where there's going to be a kitchen or area to cook, that's probably just a little bit too cozy. So let's maybe go from this corner here and bring it out, let's say 3, and then we'll go 3, no, that one. That's still a little bit too small, so I think we need to go out there, so it's 5. Okay, so if we add on this little section here, we can now see how our building will look. Yeah, okay, this shaping looks alright, and we can probably even include like a bit of a chimney or something just sticking off up from here. So this is the center line here, we'll just sort of break it up there so we can see that there's going to be like a chimney or something just sticking up out from here, and then we can go around with our building. So I think the building height should be, I genuinely like them when they're 5 high because we get that 3 tallness for our head height, but also the building looks a little bit more symmetrical and just even. So if we already have 3 there, if we take this up an extra 2, how is this going to look? So up an extra 2, run along there, that won't. Okay, so we do need to take this up 3. That's alright. So let me now just put this in place, and then we can have a look at how our house frame will look. Okay, we've got this frame in now for our building. It looks alright. I just want to quickly put in the outline for the roof, and then I believe we should be all... Okay, there's a drown that's decided to run up on land and start to burn itself. Maybe I should deal... Okay, let's deal with them, and I'll sleep. Dang it. Sir! Ow! Get back here! No. I am now going to go to sleep. Yeah, that's right, Fluffy Boulder. How rude of them. How rude. Okay, so I have made just a little bit of an adjustment here as I was placing in sort of where the framing of the roof is. So as you can see, I haven't really gone block for block where everything's going to be in place. But as you can see, we've got 2 sort of arches that's going to be breaking up this little bit of an L-shaped building. So as you can see, we've got the larger box here where probably the bedroom and living space will be. Before we come over here to the side bit where the little bit of like a kitchen area and sort of where the... well, not sort of, where I'm going to be having the little chimney. Now, before this had started, we had the chimney on this side here, but as you can notice, the direction of the roof framing and the arch kind of made it look a little bit weird hanging out of it from here. So, by having it mapped out here in the wall blocks, I was really able to tell that that didn't quite work out. So we were just able to, and I'm just going to have to get rid of this guy here. Hang on a minute. Mate, stop. No. Get out of there. All right. As I was saying... I decided to move over the little chimney over onto this side here. I think it's going to make it look a little bit more presentable and a little bit more realistic, plus it's not going to break up too much away from that A-frame here in the roof. So this is going to be basically Freddo's house here. This is the house for the owner of the tree nursery. Now, with our house properly mapped out and we've got the, exact placement that we want with it, I'm happy with how this looks, and I think, okay, obviously I didn't, let's just quickly do that now. I didn't think of where the actual placement of like a doorway or anything like that would be. So I'm thinking if we could just make in a little bit of a stairway that's probably going to lead down in like this. There, we know where our stairs will be in place. Perfect. So we've got everything that we need to know mapped out for our house here now. Let's now map out how we want our lumberyard to be. And now for this, I want the nice sturdy stone flooring. And I really also want to come up to this lip here because I think it's going to work out as a nice easy way to be able to send any logs or any woodwork that we've done up the river or throughout into the ocean and off onto its next destination. So for here, I'm thinking that we have another L shape where we can have some stuff over here being worked on as well as a bit of a front of house space. So let's go right up to here as close as we can, and let's say we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Beautiful. Now I want to bring this at least 9 more down, like 9 down as well. So we go 1, perfect. We can go even a little bit further because we want to make it down to there. So that'll be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I'm thinking that that's going to be all right there like that. So let me just map off this little section here. All right, so that's one section there done now. So now what I want to do is bring this section here. So we will count it from this block, and we're going to go, I think maybe 7. So 1, how does that look? You're right, Mr. Llama, it's not enough. We'll go 9, so it's 7, 8, 9. Perfect. And then from here, I want to go all the way out there. So we're going to at least have to have that 9 there, so 1. And that matches up with this nicely. And then we just want to run all the way down there. But we want to make sure it's an odd number so we can have a nice even sort of center point. It makes everything easy to work off of. And I'd probably want to go at least 1 more. So that'd be 10 and 11. Yeah, and then this can be an open workspace here. Fluffy Boulder, what do you reckon? You inspecting it? You think this is going to be a nice lumberyard? Ooh, are you going to be like the head lumberjack? Oh, is that how Freddo's working it? Oh, okay, cool. All right, well, let me get this lumberyard all mapped out for you. So I'm thinking that this is going to be our nice sizing here for the floor. So now I am definitely wanting to find exactly where the center of this one is. So I'm thinking that it should be at the 10th mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think this is the center. 10. No, I've given myself a double. So I'm going to trim one off of this edge here. Okay, now our center line will run in line there. We're going to put 3 wool bits here to represent some stairs, because I do want this to be like the ground level, so it is actually lifted up, so we have a really sturdy and flat surface to be actually working on. So from here, we got to work out where our wooden pillars will be, and I'm thinking we want a large enough space, so this is probably going to go up 7. So let me just see how this looks here. So I'm going to go 1. Yeah, this here looks like it's perfectly sized. However though, it does look like it needs probably a support beam running in that middle line. So what we need to do here is just scoot these guys over, work out where the center of this is, which should be that line here. Now we just run straight down the middle of it. Now the center is here, but is that going to make it too narrow to walk around between this and the entrance? Like, should we have, the thinking is one more support beam up here. Ooh, I tell you what, by putting that one in there, doesn't it make it feel like we should have stairs over here and maybe some other stairs here? We can have it separated a bit more, like the shop front and then the actual workshop. So if we were to do that, we'll put stairs here. Yeah, I like that. And then we can put some sort of mural or some sort of thing like a banner here, so we'll have something actually there to make that walled off, but the rest can be a little bit more opened. Okay, I'm going to sleep away this night. Then just like with our house, I'll put the little bit of like the roof outline there for like the A-frames and everything, and then that should be our lumberyard section all planned out nicely. I am sure that this next one is gonna make you laugh because it's not quite complete. Yes, Bluey himself is having a little bit of a chuckle at it, but it is the concept of I want to try and have the slanted roofs. So as you can see, I've come back along and brought all these outer ones up 3, and now they might need to come up a little bit higher, because as I can see from here, I mean, this is just using full blocks, so maybe if I was to use half slabs, I might be able to get a bit more of a longer angle to tilt in. So my thinking is that the roof, because as I was saying, I want to be able to get the airflow in to be able to make sure that the dust and, you know, the wood shavings, they're able to get cycled out, and we can have constantly fresh air cycling in through here. So I'm wanting to have a bit more of, you know, the logs are coming up here to support the whole structure, and then there's a big open gap around on these sides where the air gets funneled in, and as the roof sort of channels it down, it'll then come in and sort of kick up through here and blow itself all back out. So that's the idea of it. I don't know if it's just because I'm using the wool full blocks that it's not quite being mapped out nicely, but yeah, that's the idea. You can have a little bit of a chuckle, like the concept, the concept wooling. I guess that's what we'll call this sort of planning stage of it. But yeah, other than that, that's the idea, and that's how our I just lost the word there. I was about to say storage again. No, our lumber mill area. That's how it's going to look. So hopefully, when it comes time to actually putting the roof in, I'll be able to actually fathom how that's going to look. But for now, let me collect up my dirt so I can reuse it to map out our stables, which will be placed over here. And I didn't actually quite explain it. What? Yes, okay, Bluey. Words, I know I must messed that up. I didn't quite explain it, I don't think, too well, and when we first sort of stepped in. But the path is going to be coming down here, and I'm kind of just wanting a bit of a courtyard. So it's like, that's why the entrance for the house is over there, the entrance for the lumber yard is on this side, and then the stables is going to be just over here, so you can kind of come in, park up your horse, and then go through the stabling, the lumberyard area. So that's the whole section here. So I'm thinking of having this as a nice big open courtyard space, but I need to just collect up a bit more wool and my dirt blocks back, and then let's map out our stables. Well, hopefully by now you guys have stopped laughing at the awkwardness of how the lumberyard roof is going to be. I promise I'm going to try and make that work when we get to actually building in the roof. It is time now to actually map out our final build for this episode, and that is going to be the stables. Now I want this to be able to cater for at least 2 horses, And I am saying it like that because, you know, in the in the cherry wood aisles, way over there at our own stabling area, we have that to accommodate 4 mounts. And that is because it's size that it can actually hold a camel without it escaping. And, well, I'm not really going to be trying to do that in this area here. It's more of just to be able to support a horse rather than a camel. So, for that said, I want it to be kind of a little bit like over here. So I want to have not so much stone, I think. So I kind of want to have maybe a pillar here, and then we'll have a simple 3 gapping, like so, where 1 horse can go in. Then we'll have another gap of 3 where our second horse can be stored. We want to be able to have them have like a little bit of a 5 by 5 in there. So we go out by, I guess it's 5 obviously, just here like so, and that gives us what looks like a very, very simple box, but it allows us to store 2 horses here, because I'll probably be coming underneath this and replacing this with like a stone trim to sort of make it look like it's more supported, like these actual logs are kind of not so much concreted into the ground, but they have been worked in here. Remember, this place is owned by a frog, so the workmanship isn't going to be the most beautiful thing, but it's having its place. So let me just put this in. I'll probably take these up. I think 5 is going to be our best bet. So 1, 2, yeah, I think that's going to be good. So let me just quickly get all these pillars up by 5. A little bit of a ring around here to show where our stone supporting will be placed, and then we'll be right back. Now I know what you're thinking. This looks really, really simple, and just, it looks more like a crate than actually going to be a horse stable. But trust me, this is the frame here that we need. Once we get the stone in underneath this, all this, the front part here will be replaced with gates, and then all of this will be replaced with fences. So that's what's going to be holding it in. We get our pillars in here like so for the wooden beams. Then we can have a little bit of arching way over the top before we put in our roof. And like realistically, that is all we need for this area, for the stable. I think though what I might do is just come over here and build like a hay hut, so somewhere where we can store some feed for the horses. So we might just make it about the same size as that there, so come out like 3, come out there, go another 3, and then this one here is only going to be a bit smaller, so we'll probably take this up 3 high. And actually this one might be a nice easy one to go to and have like a slanted sort of shack thing. So nice. And then from here we could kind of have something that's going a little bit more in that sort of falling down phase, so we can maybe successfully at least get 1 slanted roof in this area. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to get a few, but you know, just in case we can't, we'll at least have like this. Yeah, so something like that. We might bring it up a little bit higher, and obviously I'll take it up 1 more so it's not just flush with it. But then we can have this here for like hay and food storage. We'll have one up, the stables here, but let me put the A-frame in it so you can kind of just be able to picture that. And then I think that's got pretty well much this all mapped out. So let me just quickly get that roof frame up over here on our stable so you can picture it, and then we shall return. Now, at least with the roof frame in there, it looks a little bit more like a house build. It's going to be a stable, and it will look a little bit more neater when it's not just wool blocks. But I mean, honestly, with all of these little frames here, we have a really good idea of exactly where our houses are being positioned, what materials are being used, and where. So it's not like we're going in there guessing, going, okay, where do I need to put the stone layers? How high up are they going to go? I've got all of that mapped out now. So as we can see, it's all looking pretty good. I'm happy with this spacing. We need to replace this ground here with the coarse dirt to make a bit of the courtyard, and obviously go through and replace all of these wall blocks now with the chosen materials that I've already picked. You know, all the stone, the different types of wood, which is probably going to be a little bit more of the simpler stuff because, well, a frog want to probably get the simpler wood, so we're looking at like the oaks, the birch, probably also the spruce, just because I love using spruce so much. Yeah, how can you not like spruce logs? So what my thinking is I've gone through now and showed you how I want all of these to be laid out. I think I've explained it pretty well with this, and I could just delay everything and stretch everything all out by now. We go together and replace all of this wool with all the needed blocks, and I talk through exactly my same processing yet again. Or we could just go, this is how it's looking now. So everyone have your picturing in your mind how this will turn out. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to stand here, walk over to the bridge. I'm going to have a little bit of a look at this torch. And when we turn back around from looking at this torch here, this very torch, everything should be built. So, are we ready? Let's get it done. Whoop. With just a quick blink of our eye, we should be able to turn around, and yes, here we go. Our buildings have now been completed. I can't lie to you guys. In that little bit of a brief blinking of my eye, I did do a live stream and turn our wool shapings of our houses into the actual infrastructures. So as you can see here, we have our stables. I've gone for a lovely oak sort of support railing with a lovely trim of the mangrove fencing because, well, on the live stream we did try and find Freddo, and that was a mission and a half. I think we lost him for 45 minutes. Managed to find him in the mangrove section of the tree nursery. So that was a sign to us that we're going to use mangrove wood as our highlighting block. So that what the words mountain. That is why we have the mangrove logs or the mangrove wood highlights all around the area here that you'll see. But if we continue on, you can see that we just have a nice lovely stable here. We have in the lovely sort of hay feed area, which these both have the grass, what's that? That's coarse dirt and moss blocks on our roofing. And I'd like to take a note here and say that, well, Freddo made a little message to us. He was like, you know, this is the tree nursery, man. It's our area where we are very much in touch with nature. So I would actually appreciate it if we could try to have our roofs being that very naturey, you know, flowers growing on top of it. The wildlife is included within the builds. And I thought, Freddo, I've never actually built in that style. That's going to be an excellent fun idea to do. So as you can see here, we have these really nice sort of natural platforms at the moment because we still need to decorate them. So they're on the stable and Freddo's house as well. Ooh, sorry about that. I had a little bit of a frog in my throat. But as you can see, we've got the nice sort of, it's just a plain field at the moment for the roofs, but we're going to go through and terraform them just like we terraform any other landscape. And, oh wow, that little hiccup in my throat. Oh man, it's made it nighttime, so let me just quickly sleep and then we can continue on with this little catch-up. Wait. Oh no! Bluey, this is horrible! I was just about to say that I feel really well rested after that nap and I was looking forward to, you know, continuing on this little exploration or this detailing, and I was going to have you on my shoulder, but I don't know if people can hear that. Oh no, why have they changed the sound of parrots on your shoulder? Oh no, Bluey, this is horrible for us. Okay, well, look, I'll try and do my explanation from standing here. So, as we were saying before I, had my little hiccup and had to go to sleep because it threw off my rhythm, we were talking about these roofs. And as Freddo was saying, he wanted to have that bit more of a nature. And I kind of also wanted to try doing that building style. So we have our, what is that called? A stable. We have our feed area as well as Freddo's house itself, with this very sort of nature looking area, and I want to try and include putting in the flowers and everything. It's kind of, it's like a cottagey kind of vibe, I think is what I'm going for. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm very much so making this up as I go, so I really hope it does work out. But as you can see, Freddo's house here, you know, I've gone with the stone base, and then we had the mangrove wood because, as we said, we lost Freddo. When we finally found him, he was hiding out in the mangrove swamp area, so I kind of assumed that that's the log and the wood that he really wanted to actually be detailing his area. So we've gone through and used that very much so all around here, and I have stepped out of my car. Okay, Bluey, I'm sorry, I've got to walk around now, mate. You've got to get off my shoulder. Here, let's make it... You off? No, hey, come on. this isn't fun for me either. Okay, you're off, sweet. Look, let's just make a deal. You just have to fly around now. Unfortunately, look, they broke you. There's been a recent update, and they've broken the sounds of parrots hanging out in your shoulder. It used to just be the mob sounds, and that was cool. I could get with that. But now, why does it constantly have the sound of the parrot falling? Bluey, I know, I used to love carrying you around so you didn't have to fly everywhere, but now, I think you're gonna have to... I know, Breeder, you might be able to carry him, but for the moment, I can't keep having him on my shoulder. He's too loud in my ear. I'm sorry, Bluey. I'm sorry. Let's continue on with the tour. So I've gone along here to have the stony base, and I'm trying to include a bit of like the dyed coral blocks to be able to have a bit more of texturing and just a break up from the standard stone, cobblestone, andesite, and gravel blocks, because I want a bit more texturing. That's the best way I can word it. And I know, yes, I've got to go through and add half slabs, stairs, walls, that sort of stuff, but that's the next step. You guys are jumping ahead. But we did go through, and I'm really actually enjoying the mangrove wood sort of seeping into the stonework. I was a little bit unsure about it at first, but it's kind of grown on me, and as I sit back and sort of look at it, I really do like how it's sort of presenting itself. Now, I know the immersion is really then being broken by this chimney, which isn't detailed yet. Again, that's in the next stage of the development. Don't worry, it's going to happen soon. So instead of doing that, let's show you the inside of Freddo's house so you can actually see the spacing that we have. And again, Freddo's a frog, doesn't take up too much space. We've got a nice little simple bedroom here, a nice little walk-in area. We'll put in a door, obviously, so he has some privacy, you know, running the whole tree nursery, 24/7 people are coming and trying to get to him. So if he can have a moment where he can have like a half an hour break and shut the door, let's give it to him. So you can see here it's going to have a nice space for a bedroom, a little bit of a living space, maybe having in the kitchen with like a furnace and like the fire pit all just here because this is where the chimney will be running. And I think, what do you reckon, Bluey? This is going to be, I honestly think, a lovely little addition to the section here. We've also gone through and included in his own little pond. Now, on the stream, there was a bit of a suggestion made for what this pond could be. I'm not going to say what that is. I'm going to leave that as a little Easter egg for the people that were on the stream or went back and watched the building up a frog house, I believe I titled that stream. Yeah, those people get to know maybe the secret of this little pond here. But it does have its own little secret that I will tell you, which is a little hidden room that Freddo will be able to have. So we'll obviously come through and detail this little space and give him his own little just, I don't know, frog cave. Yeah, Freddo needs a frog cave, I think. But if we now, get back out of the pond there, I can show you the last building that we had on the list, which was the lumberyard. Now, as you can see here, we were talking just before our little blink of the eye that Freddo had actually promoted Fluffy Boulder to head lumberjack. Oh, I completely missed on the word, I'm sorry about that. But head lumberjack of the tree nursery. So Fluffy Boulder is actually in charge of this whole lumber mill area here that we have, as well as building in his own little office space here. Now, when we were on the live stream, we were talking about possibly maybe trying to shape Fluffy Boulder's building into a boulder. But I mean, I really wanted to have the idea of this open space roof, and I'm not going to lie, it is a challenge that I am now going through and realizing it probably wasn't the best idea, but I am sticking to it because I have to at this point. Oh, thank you. Bluey came and gave me a little kiss on the head. Thank you for the support, mate. It's the most you've ever been. But one thing that I will touch on here though for Fluffy Boulder's office is I've used the walls for all the different blocks, and it's giving us this nice little bit of an indent into the sort of spacing, a little bit more depth of the building than we would normally have with the full blocks, especially from, you may have seen in Freddo's house how it's all very flat there, but the office has a bit more shape to it, and I like that. We also did include a section here to be able to, open up the area. We can have boats come in and unload all the different, trees and all the other wood supplies that we've managed to collect up and then send them off on their way. Alright, so the last sort of spot that needs, any sort of planning is this sort of courtyard area between the three buildings, because this section here obviously isn't a section where trees are grown in the tree nursery. This is now a more lived in area. And because I want the hardcore world, I'm using this as a how much of a world can I build to be able to tell a story at the end of it. That's the challenge of this one for those of you who may be new. And going on that storytelling bit of a journey, we're talking on the live stream, and I was considering that, over on that side of the area of our world is going to be more of an older civilization that has crumbled and fallen. And then once this whole tree nursery area is finished up, we're going to be heading out into the ocean and heading to the new world, to the new lands, and making brand new sort of things. So the tying in between the Cherrywood Isles and the tree nursery is kind of that midpoint between the old and the new. So I was wanting this courtyard to have one of the last trees of like an older time, a time from when the sniffers were in. So we're going to be able to get a little bit crazy. Bluey, why'd you have to fly in and try and be spot? Okay, whatever. We're going to try and design and create a custom tree that we believe could be something very prehistorical. So this thing might not be very generic. It's not going to use a lot of the same sort of wood types, but that's what I want to get built up over here. So we did the little blinking of my eye, and I was able to turn around and went and take it from all the wool designs to this building state here. And honestly, I'm really, really happy with that. And I'm thinking, in terms of, I'm trying really hard not to stretch out my episodes, but I know that they could be dragging because I've got so much that I want to talk about on this. But, starting to do more live streams is helping me to be able to express that a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do now is, and please let me know in the comments if you like this sort of more structure that I'm doing for this episode, or if you want me to go back and do a little bit more of the slower pace. I'm really wanting to know your feedback. But we've gone through now and shown you all this spacing here, and I've told you what's going to be in these spots. So we've got Freddo's house now. We just need to do the bedroom and the kitchen area there. I need to detail the chimney a bit. We've got to put in just terraforming all of this space around here. In Freddo's office, well, we've got to finish up, make that into an office. We've got to put a door in. We've got to finish making this into a lumber yard, and I've got to do the detailings of the roofs and actually put some food in, as well as build up a tree behind me. So what I'm thinking is, we might do another little cutaway. As you can see, it's already starting to become nighttime again, so that's a 10-minute cycle between when my little hiccup was to again now. So, wow. I don't know if I was talking that whole time or if that's going to stretch out the episode. So instead of me rambling my words anymore, Mountain, you had the voiceover guy. That was voiceover guy. Don't disrespect him like that. You had voiceover Mountain. That's right, I had voiceover Mountain. And he did a really good job. He still needs to work out a little bit more of some of his stuff. And I think that will still even stretch out things. So we're just going to take a nap. And I really hope that when I wake up, this will be all done. And we can, start wrapping up this episode. It's been a really great sort of fun way to sort of experiment doing a bit more recording way to be able to get more of the building cut down a little bit. So, let's hope that we can go to sleep. And when we come back, I'll be showing you the finished area. This is going to be good, guys. Well, good night. Let's go to sleep. Oh, that was a lovely night's rest. Honestly, I tell you what, sometimes it's really good just to be able to tuck in and just have a night of just pure calming rest. Honestly, it was beautiful. But that's not what you guys want to know. You guys don't want to know if I'm well rested. No! You want to know if I managed to finish up Freddo's lovely cottage. You wanted to know if Fluffy Boulder's office and lumber mill has been completed, as well as our lovely horse stables and our food hut. Have they all been completed, and did we put in a tree, or did we just bone meal something and try to get away with it? Well, I guess it's now time after our lovely night's rest that we spin around and go down and see how these builds have turned out. Because honestly, I'm feeling quite happy with them. But at the end of the day, I do believe that you, the loving audience, is going to be the judge. So let's spin around now and make our way down to this area. So I will say, as we're making our way through, that unfortunately you can see there that Bluey, you got it. No, okay, look, I'm sorry, mate. I can't. Oh, wait. Maybe we can. Let me see. Okay, if I turn down the friendly mob sounds to like that. It's the same. Parrots work on their own sound level, and I can't change it. Oh, they are annoying. Bluey, right now, I know that you want to be on my shoulder. You need to learn to walk. You are interrupting the recording. One moment, please. Get off my shoulder! Get off my shoulder! Get off my shoulder! Get off my shoulder! Off, Bluey! Oh, good. Phew. Look, I'm sorry. Mojang messed you up by making you have the constant falling sound. I love you, but when we're recording, this doesn't work out. I'm sorry. Alright, so back to what we were saying. So unfortunately, not all of the copper has been able to age. Well, as you may know, aging copper is a very, very slow process. But I do believe that the area is quite nicely done. And no, Freddo didn't get his secret little frog cave decorated up. I want to do that on a live stream because I want to have some Easter egg stuff in there that, you know, it's just hidden away on a stream feature. So that hasn't been done yet, but don't worry about everything else. It's all good. So if we start off by let's look at this lovely tree to start off with. So I didn't want to use just wooden blocks and different logs, that sort of stuff. I wanted it to look like it was something kind of prehistoric in some way. So I wanted it to look like it was very sort of scaly and mossed over, like there's little divot ends and like little spots and nicks into it to kind of, yeah, I don't know. So the best way to describe the wording there. So I've used a lot of the dry, dead coral blocks there to be able to give it that sort of texturing, much like we did with sort of using it in the stonework there. But I thought using it in a larger scale here to make our trees, and then coming in with some of the dyeing fans to have like a little bit of like moss hanging off the side, and then we've got the coral fins and all that sort of stuff just hanging up here to sort of look like there's something kind of growing. Bluey, you better behave yourself here. Looks like there's something kind of growing up there to sort of, I don't know, just like the eeriness of what is this tree doing? We can see that it has this sort of mossy life to it, but we can also see that there is some greenery and berries that are produced. Now, these berries and that sort of stuff, they might start off there. Bluey, man, I am sorry, man. Okay, you're gonna have to stay seated now. Nope, you're messing this up. Go away, Bluey! But, you know, you can see that we've got the berries and everything growing off down here, which, yes, okay, they're glow berries, but looking at it like here, they might have started off their life as like this little rooting system before the vines can finally grow off and we get the nice leaves coming off of them before they start to flower. So it's a combination of just some stuff that we can see naturally, you know. It is like it's a tree. So we're not trying to be something that's really weird and outlandish. It's just sort of a tree that's no longer around. So we need it to be able to, you walk past, you go, oh yeah, that's a tree. But you get close and you're like, oh, hang on, that's not a typical tree. That's what I've kind of tried to have look with it. And yeah, I guess you guys can be the judge of if it looks well enough to be sort of a tree from the sniffer area. I did try to sell it by having sniffer flowers all the way around the place here, and I do think that is a really, really nice touch. And it's almost night again. I tell ya, these little bit of miscommunications between you and me, Bluey, they're stretching out things more than I normally do. So, now that we've had to re-sleep through the night, we've addressed the lovely tree. This tree doesn't have a name yet for its species, so if you guys could think of one, that would be terrific. But let's move on. So, as you can see, we've got Freddo's little cottage here. I've gone through the chimney, in my opinion. Looking back on it, it's a little bit small. I maybe should have raised it a little bit, but going off of the quirkiness of this house was built by a frog. I don't think being up to like standards and building code is something that Freddo is really worried about. He's more wanting to be out here in nature and going through through all of his trees. So the fact that he just has it there plonked in place, it kind of feels right. It honestly does. So you can see here that we've got Freddo's cottage. We've gone through, added in a little bit of the greenery life on the roof. We've added in his own little wheat field, so he has a nice supply of food, and it kind of just helps fill in dead spaces. Because I mean, when you've got a dead space, throw in a wheat field, usually it'll fix the problem. But if we continue on down, you can see that we've got little barrels and that sort of stuff that can be here to hold the items. I haven't gone through and waterlogged any of them because we're kind of using them as hidden lighting, because trapdoors will let the light through, so that's a great way to have hidden lighting there. But that leads us straight up here into Freddo's house, and we can go on up here and you can see that we've given him a little bit of a bed, you know, he's got a poster. I've put up some, like, these are just the ladders, but I'm thinking that they can be kind of like hanging shelves. That's what I'm trying to make it look like. I mean, it might not, it might break some people's immersion, but I'm trying to use it as a bit of a detailing block like that. And then we do have, you know, just this nice little fire pit here where he's got his smoker and his furnace, so that way he can cook up food really quick, but then he's also not limited to being able to smelt up any materials that may needed to be, you know, produced in that way. But for a small space and for a frog, I do think that this is quite nice and homely. Like, we've given him a bit of a rug. We haven't included any of it close to where the fire area would be. So, you know, he can keep his toes still nice and warm everywhere as he's walking and that sort of stuff. And I think as for a nice little small frog house, it works lovely. So I am happy with how this one looks. Alright, and if we leave Freddo's house now, you can see that we've got his lovely little pond here, which does have its little secret way into the frog cave, I guess we'll call it. But as I said earlier, the frog cave is an area that I want to just do in stream, so it's like a little Easter egg for, you know, maybe when the world ends up, well, when the time comes and I die and the world becomes a world download, it'll be a little spot where, you know, you guys can go and actually see, ooh, what's the happening in the frog cave, because I don't want to reveal that within an episode. But you can see that we've just got this nice little lovely just nature strip kind of area, a little bit of overgrown grass, we've got some sugar cane, just a nice little pond with some detailing, bamboo so that Fluffy Boulder never goes without any food, and yeah, I mean, it's just a little fill-in nature strip here, and honestly, it doesn't add anything dramatic to the area, but without it, and trust me, as we saw when this was like all the wool frames, without it, it's very plain. So it's nothing that's shocking detail, but honestly, small little patches like this one and this little spot here too, you can see leading up into the actual lumber area, as well as these little detailing bits here. They're really not too much flashiness, but honestly, without their little bit of just placement, it feels so empty and just, it feels like everything was just plonked down and it's not really lived in. So I like the little detailing here. I mean, as I say, it's not adding too much, but it's just a nice little touch. So without me ranting anymore, let's go into Fluffy Boulder's office, which doesn't have a door, and that has nothing to do with the fact that doors and these walls couldn't line up properly. Has nothing to do with that. Fluffy Boulder told me that he wanted an open door policy. Yep, that's what we're going with. So as we enter in, you can see that Fluffy Boulder has a nice, lovely, large desk with all of the areas here for him to store up his boulders and his nice rock collection, so that everything's, you know, well, I was about to say chip shop, no, words, well kept in order. Let's go with that. Keep it simple, Mountain. So you've got all of this nice, lovely storage areas here. We've also got a chiseled a bookshelf there, which I was thinking I could go in and we could start, like, if you guys wanted to place some orders for Fluffy Boulder, and I can go and just put in like an order log, and we can have actual people wanting to, you know, get orders of Freddo's Tree Nursery's lumber yard area. Words, something like that. You know, I was thinking that we could do something like that to be able to include more of you guys, the viewers in this world. I'd like to have, you know, sort of your suggestions of orders that may be placed into this section. But yes, as you can see, we just got a nice large desk with an open space leading into like the real workings here. So you can see that we've got a nice stone table that has a simple sort of cutting saw edge on it so that we can just cut down the logs nice and easily, pile them up here. We've got a little bit of a table and bench area that we can use our tools and work with things if we might need to lacquer up any of the timber so that way it can't, where we're trying to prevent it from getting any rot or, you know, stuff like that. We've got this extra little bit of detailing, I'll say. And then we've got this other table here, which I tried to make a little bit fancy, but okay, look, I'm no good times with Scar, but I think it kind of, it portrays the message I was trying to get through, which is we've got our logs that start off here, you know, we close this over, we push it through. As we do, because that's like the safety mechanism, this saw comes up and then cuts up the log up, and then sort of we can have like a spinning thing and it strips all the logs off, and then it's just sort of running down this conveyor belt, and then we sort of just chop it all up and pile it here before we move it to the next table. And then, yeah, Burrito, honestly, I think this space is quite nice. I mean, it was a little bit of a small area to work with, and honestly, this space here is just purely for storytelling and nothing else. I think we've really hit the nail on the head with it. I will go up and say though that looking at here, you can see I was originally thinking of using the oak trap doors to have like a graded vent system up there. I completely forgot about iron bars. And I mean, they just look perfect there. And it was really nice that along the main lipping there, it fits flush. So like, oh, no, I was really happy to see that. And yeah, I think that kind of really sums up the lumber yard quite nicely. We do have the little bit of the memorial thingy here, the display, which is kind of every wood type that Freddo has here in the tree nursery, and it's in its stripped variant because, well, that was a little bit more lively, I thought. So I thought that would be just a nice little centerpiece here, mural kind of thing, whatever the word is. But yeah, I thought that would look just quite nicely there. And we are now on the home stretch. We have our lovely horse stable, which really hasn't changed up too much from where we last left off. It's now been a little bit more natureified, as well as the the feed shed hut, whatever we're calling it. But they've mainly just gotten a little bit of more nature coming through. I've got like the bamboo sort of mezzanine half slabs, I think that's what they're called, and it's a really nice pattern. And then added in some lanterns for extra lighting. Trot really does seem to enjoy this space here, so I think we're onto a winning here for a nice little comfort spot. We've got, you know, a nice little walk around. We've got a bit of a water spot here, which I do need to fill up with water so we can give our lovely horse a drink. And then just for the, you know, the feed shed area, I've just put in a whole heap of hay bales, mixed up a little bit of the berries as well, put in some chopped logs and that sort of stuff because, well, I mean, in this area, like, I kind of feel like there would be a lot of just cluttery of off-cut logs that have just been sort of swept up and then pushed off to the side, and then, you know, it's like, okay, there was a big windstorm coming through, or maybe, so they've just thrown them in here to keep as much of the hay kind of weighted down. So that was my thinking for that, and I think, again, it's just a nice little detail. But yes, Burrito, we did it. Okay, I'll admit, this part here, this is part of the next episode where we go and do the fine detailing around everything before we do the final lapping of the river around here. So that wasn't ever on the cards for today, if you're wondering about that. However though, as Burrito was saying, yes, it is now about to be nighttime yet again. And we have finally finished this little tour of, well, Freddo's cottage, Fluffy Boulder's lumberyard, and our horse stables, as well as our lovely ancient tree or sniffer's tree. I would really like to work out a name for this, and then maybe even when we're going back through in where it's going to be like the ancient civilization area, I might even pop up a few more of these little trees. But I'm really happy with how it all looks, and as it's now becoming nighttime, and one key thing that I really want to have in around all of my builds in this hardcore world is when it's night, how well is it lit up? And Like if we're looking around, the roofs are all nicely lit up here. This is a cozy looking spot. Like you can feel the little smoke puffs coming up from the chimney there. Oh, it's just lovely. Like I'm really happy with how this looks. I think it ties so nicely in with the rest of the tree nursery. Like nothing about this sticks out like a sore thumb. It's beautifully blended in. Okay, I really wish that the copper would age to get that turquoisey color. I think that'll help it pop a little bit more. But I mean, honestly, even if we just strip it right back to the pure orange copper, that even looks nice. So yeah, I'm really happy with this area, but I'll tell you what, let me sleep away this night and then we can wrap up this episode because man, I know for a fact that life has gotten in the way a little bit and it's been a bit delayed being able to get this one out, and I'm not too sure if it's being dragged out a little bit too much with how long the episode is, but there was a lot to cover in here, so yeah, let me go and have a lovely night's rest yet again, and then we can wrap up this episode. Well, there we have it. After a couple of weeks worth of work, and it did stretch out a little bit longer than I wanted it to, I do apologise for that. We are just one step closer to finishing off the tree nursery. You know, I wanted to have the trilogy episodes to be able to get this done. And well, episode 1 from that trilogy is now complete. We have a lovely cottage for our beloved friend Freddo. We have a really nice, just sort of simple, simple, cute, I don't know what the right word is. It's a nice laid back lumber mill area. Like, it's not very high tech. You can see that this is being run by someone who is quite laid back, and well, as laid back people go, pandas are pretty chilled. So, you know, I think it's a nice just touch to that, and it really helps sell this story of how this area is. And then, yes, even we've got Trot here calling out his lovely new home here within the stable. Honestly, guys, I am really happy with how this is all looking. I mean, as I said before, ultimately, you guys will be the judge, and I would really love to hear your feedback on how you guys felt like with the structure and the editing of this episode, you know, though is compared to some of the other ones I've done, and B, what do you think of the area? Did I do it all right, or oh no, have I flopped? I hope you guys think it's done up well, but no, I'm happy. And before I just start rambling too much more, because we all know I can, I would just like to say a huge thank you to everybody who's been tuning in, to all of you who have made it this far into the video, and you know, I would just love to say thank you for all of the love and support that you are all showing throughout the channel with, you know, the hardcore episodes, the Let's Play episodes. We've just started the mid SMP and we've been doing those live streams. So I'd just like to say I'm really, really grateful for all of your support. And, well, with that said, a thank you to everyone. And until next time,